All right, what's up, everybody? Episode 87. Stuart Anderson here. This is our episode with Mike Brodrick. If you know Mike, he's just a big winning machine. He's ridden with our team a few times, especially at team camp this last year, but you'll see him at every race, mountain bike race, gravel race, road race. The dude is just an awesome example of Utah cycling, and a fireman, EMT, and he's one of those guys. I often say this about, there's a certain group of people that when you are with them, you know that everything is going to be okay. Mike's one of those guys. He takes care of his friends, super confident and strong, and just excited to hear from him, his story, and some of his advice out to the team. So grateful for Mike, thankful for Jason Lang, who also co-hosted, and the time they spent. Next year, 2024, will be the 40th anniversary of the team. Pretty fun, and we're going to release a special kit, a throwback kit to the early 1984 kits that the team used to wear a long time ago. They've got a little flavor there of what they used to look like. So we'll be releasing those soon. That's just a specialty kit for next year, something fun. Little party kit action. So anyway, look for those. That's coming soon. All right, enjoy this episode. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. Grateful for all of you. Bye. All right, welcome everybody. Episode 87, which kind of feels ridiculous if I'm being honest. That's a lot of episodes. Jace, I believe you're an official. I mean, you listen to every single one.
I sure do. I don't think I've missed any.
How about most popular episode? What do you think? Most memorable?
Oh my gosh.
And you can't say your own.
I don't even know that I could pick one, to be honest with you.
Okay.
It's been good.
Charles was talking this morning about how good Dan Tennell's was. Really good. Great episode there.
Yeah. I really like Dan's too.
This is 87?
87, Mike. Yeah. That's handsome Mike Brodrick, by the way. Hey, Mike, how are you?
Hey, not too bad.
Did you listen to any episodes before you agreed to do this?
So I had no clue until, well, you contacted me, like 2 weeks ago or whatever.
Yeah.
Told me about this whole thing. I had no clue you guys even did this. This is so cool. I actually went back and listened to a couple. I've got many more to listen to. So this is awesome.
Hey, well, we got to get Mike Russell. We should get Russell on here. He'd be a good interview.
He would be.
Would he?
You'd have to kind of blur it. I don't know if you beep out some of the swear words and stuff here and there.
So profane.
No. Russell's awesome. He would be awesome on here.
Fun. Cool. All right. If you don't know Mike Brodrick, this is your opportunity. We're super grateful to have him on. Jace, did you happen to think back about the first time you met Mike? Was it at a race where he was riding away from you, or do you remember when it was?
I'm sure it was at a race when he was riding away from me. That was pretty much every race that I've done with Mike. It was probably some race, and I got behind him and saw these gigantic calves and thought, who is this horse? I bet I can beat him up a climb, and then you can't. He just stays away from you no matter what.
Mike, we've had a lot of, just here and there races throughout the years, but my most favorite memory was this year when we were all down at camp down in St. George, and Mike was just like, hey, can I come ride with you guys? And it was so fun to just have you come and be with the team and be down in St. George together, and that you were like wanted to be with us. So that was cool. That was fun to be together.
Well, of course, that was such a fun time. And it just by chance, I was down there and I was reaching out to a couple guys. It's like, hey, let's go for a ride. And then I found out you guys had team camps. Of course I was going to join that, but It's so nice to kind of meet up with some of the guys on the team and some old friends and meet some new people. It's your team is so awesome. It was great. It was great to spend some time with you, and appreciate you letting me do that.
We were going up Kolob, weren't we? Isn't that what we did that day when you rode with us?
I did a couple days. Come on.
Oh man. I just remember looking over going up Kolob, and I'm like, we got like 4 more hours up this climb.
Well, luckily we ran into the snow.
Snow.
But we got the snow there. You guys we took a great picture of the team there. It was probably pretty nice. So fun times. It's good.
Hey, well, I asked Mike's good friend Mike Russell to write this little introduction to him. It's short and sweet, and I really want to dig into one part here that I did some research and I couldn't find you in the fireman calendar, so we might have to do some search there. So okay. So Mike writes, Mike Brodrick. He's won multiple state cycling championships across multiple disciplines. He's consistently a top finisher in road racing, cyclocross, and mountain bike races. He learned how to persevere during his career as an EMT and worked a large part of his career with the United Fire Department. His drive to help others extends beyond his profession, as he is known to focus on helping others to achieve their goals. And for those of you who are interested, he's the month of March in the 2023 United Fire Department's Hunk of Burnin Love calendar. That can't be true. Is that true?
Definitely not true.
Oh,
but if you know, if you know Mike Russell, he's a character.
That's funny.
He's such a great guy. He's always teasing me about that stuff. So
that's funny.
But he definitely does use the term loosely, like multiple stage championships.
Dude, well, I got to watch you ride and race a lot this year in the midweek mountain bike races. I was up supporting Kristen, and then Adam Barker would always ride against you. So that ended this week, didn't it?
It did. So yesterday it was kind of it was the last race of the season, kind of a makeup race up at Snowbird. Didn't end up so great for me, but I ended up with enough points to win the series. So it was awesome. Have you guys ridden up at Snowbird?
I don't even know where to ride there. I mean, I've only ridden up to the top of Hidden Peak. I just rode that trail all the way to the top. That's all I've ever done.
Snowbird's pretty gnarly. It's more of a true mountain bike race, I would say, compared to some of the other events or some of the locations the series have been. I mean, so I saw you like Round Valley a couple times. I mean, those trails are pretty, I don't know, smooth and flowy. Well, Snowbird's pretty much the opposite of that. But so coming down the last lap, I sidewall of my tire blew out.
And that was it. That was the end.
Down the road. So I ended up walking down, but they were so much fun. It was fun to see you. It was fun to see Kristen. Fun to race with Adam, a bunch of other Duole guys. So
did you go down? Did you blow the sidewall and crash, or? I
didn't. It came out onto this double track, super rocky, of course, and just slid on my rim for like 20, 30 feet. Hopefully not too much damage. I haven't even looked at it yet. So no harm done. Saved it.
You rode the bike hard and put it away wet. Didn't even look at it.
Just added to my list of things to do. So I don't know. We've all got those.
Nice. But he won the series. So very good.
Well, my age group and the age group.
Series, okay. Yeah. Stay humble. Yes. Very good. Mike, maybe you could tell everybody a little bit about what this introduction missed, who you are, maybe where you ride, and let's just start there. Can we do that?
Sure.
Okay, cool.
So just born and raised here in Utah. Probably tell by my Utah drawl, I guess. But I grew up in Draper. So back then, I mean, what'd you guys figure Draper was? It was pretty much just all farmland, right?
Farmland, yeah.
Back in the day.
Nobody lived in Draper.
Nobody lived in Draper, right? So just a bunch of farms. Like all I thought was there's just cowboys that lived out there, right? When I was growing up. But it was awesome. Draper's a cool place. Obviously can't afford to live there now, but I but I grew up in Corner Canyon. I mean, I grew up just hunting up there. I grew up riding my motorcycle up there. Just out anywhere in that area there. So obviously that's all filled in with homes, Suncrest, all that up there. So anyways, grew up in Draper, went to Alta. Which was funny because you guys all know Nate Kazir, right? So
yeah,
he and I actually went to high school together. We weren't friends or anything, but
no way.
Kind of a fun story because we anyways, we were on a ride together, started talking. We're like, no way, no, what? We know the same people, so it's kind of cool.
That's cool.
Anyways, went to Alta, Satellite Community, UVU. Oh, let's see. So I'm the oldest of four, and so actually everybody all still lives kind of here in the area. My brother just moved back actually last weekend. I helped him move back from Phoenix, so parents still live in the same place in Draper. So yeah, that's kind of where I grew up. I now live in Lehigh, so not too far away, but it was funny growing up in Draper, like there was no reason to go past the point of the mountain, right? It was just
Right.
like, there's nothing. There's just Lehigh. What is that? It's a bunch of cowboys over there. There's no, even in high school. So, so yeah, so I live here now, and I don't know, we've probably been here for about 20 years or so. So yeah, I don't know.
Nice.
That's so funny to hear you talk about the point of the mountain, even living on it. Like, because I felt that way in Murray. Like, oh, either the north point or the south point. Like, don't ever go past that. That's the south is basically Nevada, north is basically Idaho. Like, why would you ever go past those points? But you lived right there, like, and you still wouldn't go around the point of the mountain.
Yeah, I mean, I was up all the time riding my motorcycle up, like Hogs Hollow, or like up on top, and you could see the other side. We never went down into Alpine or anything. Just there was no reason to, right? So like, we don't need to cross this line. It's Utah County, like, there's nothing down there. Well, maybe Provo. But
did you play high school sports, Mike? Were you was your family into sports and stuff, or?
So I did not play high school sports. I don't know if I'm the most coordinated dude. So I grew up playing sports. I mean, most guys did, right? Like my parents had me into rec sports and I don't know all that growing up. But looking back, I don't know. Like, so I played, rec basketball, soccer, football, like most everybody else. But looking back at it, I don't remember my parents coming to a lot of the games. So I think they were just kind of a babysitter for me, like we're going to send him off and be gone for an hour or something. But so no, got into high school. I didn't play too much. Of course I've always liked sports, but my wife and I had this conversation the other day. So back in high school, she called me one of, I've never heard this before. She grew up in Provo. Well, she went to high school there. And she called me one of the F dudes. So if you never heard what an F dude is, apparently that's a Provo term for the guys that I don't know, in high school just went out, on the breaks and had a smoke or something underneath the bleachers.
No way.
Yeah, so I think I had a mullet in high school. Yeah, so I wasn't too much. I mean, we went to the games and stuff, but yeah. So
what's the F stand for F?
I don't even know. I was trying. She wouldn't.
I think we
not
just
fun. They're not. It's not fun.
We found the title of the podcast.
Yeah. My wife would laugh if she heard that. So
nice.
Like, oh yeah, we used to call you guys the F dudes. Like, what does that even mean?
I can't wait. I'm gonna use that the rest of your life.
Like when I got a little older, definitely more interested in sports. All my kids played sports in high school, and I just didn't play much growing up. So yeah, I'm a big soccer fan. I had a daughter that played for a long time, and anyway, she just kind of finished up. But I love soccer. It's probably my favorite sport. Everybody makes fun of me around here for, like, all my friends, soccer. What? Who follows a game that can end up in a tie? Or what I mean? Just a big EPL fan, so I love the Arsenal Gunners. So,
what do you do for work now, Mike? What's your day look like?
Well, for now, so right now I own a construction company. So I've been doing that pretty much since I was young. I kind of took over from my dad and doing that. So yeah, I do that now. I just recently retired from the fire department. It's actually official now. I just received my first pension check like a week ago.
Wow.
That is exciting. Congratulations.
Yeah. So It's pretty nice only having to work one job. So for 25, 30 years, I worked pretty much two full-time jobs and raising
Wow.
a family, everything else. So it's pretty busy, but it's nice just to concentrate on one thing right now. So I can sleep in my own bed. I don't have to work weekends.
What's the one thing
Uh,
you're concentrating on? Bikes?
I wish. I definitely have. Well, I thought I was going to have a lot more time to ride, but you get busy. You guys that own your own business, just it's just so much time consumed in that. But yeah, no, it's just nice to be able to. I don't know. It's a lot more relaxing. Got more time to myself now, so yeah, or I guess ride a little bit more.
What was life like
That's what I'm doing.
as a fireman, EMT? I mean, was that crazy stressful, crazy busy, or did you really enjoy it?
Man, it's an awesome job. It's
Hmm.
probably one of the best jobs out there. There's some days that are stressful and some days that are pretty boring, but 25 years, I mean, it's a little time, but there's guys at our department that are working 35 years. They've been doing it that long.
Wow.
So uh it was awesome. I saw a lot of stuff. Helped a lot of people. So uh I did work a lot of my career up on the east side there. So that holiday station that you guys know, the old one and then the new one,
Yeah.
up in Mill Creek, up in Olympus Cove, Cottonwood Heights. I spent probably 20 years just kind of in that area there. So
No way.
all those nights you heard the sirens
That was
going
you.
past your house and you're cussing because you're trying to sleep. Well, it could have been me. I worked the last probably 5 or 6 years in Cottonwood Heights, just that station right there off of Wasatch,
Huh.
between the two canyons there.
Yeah.
So we covered the Cottonwood Canyons, like the lower half. So we did a lot of rescues up there, hikers, some bikers, and a lot of those people that had no reason to be up there or had no business being up there. So anyways, it's a lot of fun. Learned a lot. Had a lot of got a lot of good friendships out of it. So
Nice.
good times.
Jace, any questions for Mike?
Yeah, I mean, I was just going to say, probably my biggest question is knowing you and kind of knowing your background and just knowing like firemen and EMTs and construction workers and stuff like that. They don't ride road bikes. Like how in the world did you get into this world of cycling and endurance sports? You're a big dude, you're strong, you have gigantic calves, you strong arms and shoulders, and you get on this little road bike and put on the spandex suit. What's going on?
Well, I guess it would be weird. Most I guess blue collar workers are probably not. They're probably tired by the end of the day. Last thing they want to do is go get on a bike, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, there's many reasons why I started riding a bike, but it wasn't. It's kind of the same reasons why you guys started. Why most people start.
Cheaper than a therapist?
Yes, for sure. I don't know. Like you always want to stay in shape. I mean, that's one thing that we all want to do. It's a healthy habit that we have. I work in the fire department. Most of the people we went on, unfortunately, were people that didn't take care of themselves. And so you saw a lot of, diabetes, I don't know, just all these health problems and, actually a lot of depression too. So definitely don't want any of that. So, of course, that's a good reason. Like you said, Jason, it's a good stress reliever. You can just focus on cycling rather than, I don't know, work or other things going on and just focus on whatever your goal is that day. But we all know that with cycling comes a lot of friendships. You ride bikes with your friends. It's kind of neat to to be like an adult, you know, and then you're just making friends all the time. Like you'll meet someone on a group ride and next thing you know, you see them the next time. So you get to know them a little bit. And before you know it, you're seeing them all the time and learning about their kids, learning about what they do. But the neat thing about it is we have, and it's the same with you guys, we have so many friends that have so many different careers, different habits. And so it's just so, it's like I said, what I enjoy about it is meeting up with, say, I don't know, Mike Russell or another, or a friend Jeremy or whoever, you guys, and seeing what experience they had that week, or you know what their kids are doing, or if this one got married, or what patients they had that day, or whatever. You know, it's pretty neat. So that obviously my wife rides. She's a cyclist, mostly just road, but we all know how helpful that is when we want to go out for long rides.
Yeah.
So she understands the time commitment with that. I've always been a morning person. I've always woke up early. Always back in the day, just, you know, woke up early, went to the gym, did this or that. And then it just eventually went into cycling. And so now it's just kind of a hobby, something I do every morning. So, you know, mornings always work best. It's for me, but it's different for everybody, right? Just whatever you can fit in. So
can you trace back to how it started, where you started?
So when I was working in the fire department, I was probably 10 years in, and we had a kind of a relaxing weekend. I was up in Mill Creek working there, and it's like a weekend shift, which usually aren't too busy. So, and we don't have a lot of stuff to do. So we when you're at the fire station, they just do different things, and you have some really good cooks there. So I had a buddy. He made us, well, let's just say we weren't eating the most healthiest there at that time of my life.
Okay.
So I remember vividly, we ate a bunch of ice cream during the day, and then at dinner time, he's like, "All right, I'm gonna make you guys this new burger. I call it the Juicy Lucy." I'm like, "Ah, sweet, yeah, this can be awesome." So it's like a pound of hamburger,
A pound.
and then a pound on top, a pound on the bottom, and there's like 3 cheeses in the middle.
No.
Yeah, he just crushed it, right? So I ate this thing, went to bed, and woke up in the middle of the night, and I did not feel good. I thought I did not feel good at all.
Oh, I wonder why.
Yeah, exactly. So I went down to our ambulance and got out the cardiac monitor, patched myself up, and I'm like, man, I'm having a heart attack. This is crazy. So I do not. Ever
You
since
were
that
really
day,
having a heart attack?
No,
Oh.
but I felt like it. If you ate that much grease, like
That indigestion feels like the heart attack, right?
Yes, but so everything looked fine, but I swore to myself I never wanted to feel that way again. So at that moment, I'm like, all right, I gotta change some stuff here. I gotta change some habits. So anyways, from there, I was like, all right, it's time to go to the gym. So I started going to the gym and lifting weights. Eventually I went to CrossFit, which I know you guys have done in the past. So we had on a building in Lehigh, we have a tenant there that had a CrossFit gym. So I'm like, go give this a go. So you know how all that goes. It was a lot of fun. I actually did that for a good 5 years, probably, just every morning, just super early, 5 o'clock, 5:15 in the morning, just there doing your thing. And so I made a lot of friends that way. A lot of friends I still talk to daily from the gym. Did that, but decided you have a little more, I guess, endurance, because when you're just picking stuff up and putting it down, I mean, you're only doing that for like 15 minutes, right?
Right.
So we started getting into those Spartan races. Have you ever?
I've never done one.
Remember those things?
Yeah.
Never done one.
Never done one.
So this was, 10 years ago or something, where they were pretty big there for a while. So we were doing those. We were starting to travel a little bit, going out and just doing these Spartan races. So you kind of run, you run a bunch, then you do these obstacles, and it was a lot of fun. But I found out that I really don't like running that much. so, so anyways, so I kind of got in cycling that way, just to something to stay in shape that was definitely low impact, right? You're not running. I don't know. You guys are probably runners, but
No.
I tried it for a while. I just can't. I can get up to, I can start training for about a month or so, and then everything just starts hurting. I just not the smallest guy, but I don't know. You guys have probably done it, or you just wake up in the morning and like, what just happened? Like, why does my hip, is all
Yeah,
it's all
that's the
running.
next day after I run.
That's
After a month.
that's like during the run.
Yeah, well, there's that too, but anyways, yeah, so kind of got into cycling that way. Neighbors started riding a little bit, so I kind of started joining them and met up with a kind of a coworker and started learning about road cycling and got a little interested, but I always made fun of the road cyclists. Like I always mountain bike growing up. I think we all kind of did. Like Corner Canyon, I rode a little bit back in the day, but I never had any desire to ride on the road. And I always made fun of these guys that riding their bikes and wearing these costumes. But, but got into that and started liking it. I think the first time I really knew that this is what I wanted to do and pursue and get into was when, remember back in the day when they had, it wasn't that long ago, but they had the Tour of Utah, but they had the Ultimate Challenge. Remember that?
Yeah.
So I was riding for, I don't know, probably a summer or a season or whatever you call it. And the Ultimate Challenge comes around. And so we do this. Did you guys ever do that?
Yeah, I did 3 or 4 of those.
I wasn't cycling. That's like right when I started, when they ended it.
Oh yeah. But do you remember the ones? I can't remember how many there were, but there was a few that ended up at they ended up in Snowbird.
Yeah.
Right. So you start, I don't know, you start clear down in like Morgan County down there and go up Empire, and then you come down and then you go up Little. Well, that was huge. That took everything I had to get up to at least Little Cottonwood. And so I'm climbing it with some friends. And like I said, this is like the first year I'm cycling. That's a pretty big ride. And if you remember, the day they did that was the same time they were doing one of the stages that finished up there, right? So you rode before the pros went up. But there was, at the time, there was a lot of people, I wouldn't say a lot, it's definitely not Europe or anything, but there's a lot of people on the side of the road cheering you on, waiting for the real race to start. So we're going up and we get up to like Tanner Splatter, and there's a whole bunch of people there and they're like cheering you on. Half the people didn't even know. They thought you were just the racers, right?
Right.
So I look over, this dude has this stick with a piece of bacon on it just hanging there. And I'm like, what is this? So I grab this bacon and eat it because I'm dying at this point, right? Go up a little farther, there's a donut hanging on a string. I'm like, yes. So I grab this donut and all these people are cheering, they're pushing you. And anyways, after that, we finished, and it was at that time probably the hardest thing I've ever done, physically for sure. And I thought, this is the coolest feeling in the world. These guys are awesome. They're cheering us on. I did this hard thing. And so I think after that, it was, I started getting a little more serious about it and definitely enjoy it. And that's kind of where I started there. So that's what I would say.
Yeah, I did a bunch of those. Man, I even did that one that started. Remember when there was that one that started down in Rio Grande? It started like downtown. We wrapped around the city, up Immigration, up Big Mountain, down into Hennifer, and then up Empire, then down Big, then up Little. I mean, it was, and I came off a week of, I'd been at Steiner with the Boy Scouts that week. And then I just arrived at home and did the Ultimate Challenge. Not my greatest day. Not the best.
Also the hardest thing you've ever done.
Oh man, it was brutal. That's fun. Well, maybe Mike, talk about, let's just do a few quick questions. Favorite local ride. Where do you love to go?
For sure, probably AF Canyon for me. I live like 15 minutes from the mouth there.
Yeah.
Just like you guys live up by the canyons up there. I live right here by AF. And so it's 15 minutes to the mouth and an hour up to the top. And man, I mean, there's years that we would do that 3 times a week. You know, it just depends on the year, but definitely once a week for me getting up there. But and you guys have been up there. So basically from the Y, from where Tibble Fork turns off, to the top, and then down the back side down to Aspen Grove area, Sundance, just that top half.
You like that better than Cascade, like descending into Cascade?
Cascade is pretty dang awesome. The road is great, but the scenery is not as good. So, but I do love Cascade too. That descent down Cascade is just so smooth and fun. So, but the problem with Cascade is you start going down, you're like, oh man, I got to come back up this thing. So, but then they built that road from Cascade Springs up over to Midway, which makes it, you know, it's pretty steep right there, but which makes it great for any kind of a loop that you do. You guys know you've done that.
Yeah. So good.
So that was so nice when they did that instead of having to ride around all the way down Provo Canyon and all that. So
yeah,
that's probably
your go-to.
It's probably my go-to. Corner Canyon, definitely on the mountain bike. It's easy to get to. Trails are pretty awesome up there. You guys have been there too, so yeah, for sure.
Favorite race, most memorable races, maybe some memorable experiences you've had out. I mean, you've done a ton of racing, so is there anything that draws you to that? There's a lot of cyclists that are just like, I can't be bothered with the race aspect. What draws you to that experience?
Well, we all want to push ourselves, right? I don't know. It just seems like you work so hard during the year. This is how I look at it. Everybody kind of looks at it a little differently, but you work so hard, you train so much, and then this is kind of where this is kind of the test. This is where you can kind of show what you've done and that. And I'm always trying to get better at things. I'm always trying to push myself. So definitely racing does that. Definitely, I like to be competitive, you know. But it's also fun to spend time with you guys in the races, you know, because you kind of have your friends that you ride with, and there's the guys you always race with, so you're kind of friends with them too. It just depends on the year. I don't know how you guys pick your stuff, but I don't know. I kind of try to pick a couple big events during the year and work on those, and then just try to fit in all the little stuff that kind of fits in place with your schedule, with family stuff. And some years you don't have any time to do any races. Some years you've got you can do as much as you want. So yeah, I mean, as far as memorable ones, I think I want to say the very first race that I did was definitely very memorable. This was around the same time as that Ultimate Challenge. I wouldn't consider that a race. That was just a pretty big event, but the first official race I did was the Tour of Park City. You guys remember that one?
Oh yeah. Well, you just won it, right?
Gosh. No.
I guess Mirror Lake.
I think I raced with Jason. I didn't do it this year. Last year I raced with Jason, I think.
Yep, me, you, and Ben Brooks.
Oh yes,
to the line together.
That's right. Oh man, it's always a day of suffering, but so I definitely had no business doing the Tour of Park City that first year. So I had like a year of maybe riding a little bit, and then my buddy's like, "Oh, you got to come up and do this." You know, we go Mirror Lake Highway. It's awesome. I had no clue how hard 150 miles was. That was yeah. I did all right, but I remember coming up Browns. At that time, it finished in Browns Canyon.
I remember that.
I remember coming up Browns and just like dying. So after that, I sat down. I was like, "What am I doing? This is." We've all had those moments, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then I thought, well, this means I gotta work harder. It's gonna take a while, but we'll get there. Everybody always has race experiences. Loaded Jet, for example, any of those super hard long ones, those long days, those are all great experiences. Some that you can share with friends. I remember a couple of years ago, was it last? I can't remember. A couple of years ago, I remember finishing Loaded and sitting down after and just smoked, just toast like everybody. I sat down next to Pooch,
Yeah.
and he's like, "Here, man, here's a beer." And so we just sat and just shared this beer together, and it was
Nice.
it was so memorable. I remember thinking, just like, "Oh, dude, we just did this, man, I'm glad it's over." But there's a lot of memories, a lot of suffering for sure. I think the worst race was that True Grit gravel race in
In the,
2021.
in the snow.
Did you guys do that one in the snow?
I
Did you
didn't
guys do that one?
No. No, I'm smarter than that.
No, Taylor
You
Cannon
guys-
did it and sent us pictures.
Oh my gosh. So I think that's the coolest I've ever been in my life.
Oh.
So definitely that was not too smart. But first time I've ever descended on a dirt road and not being able to move anything. I couldn't even apply brakes. I couldn't even move my head. Like it was,
Oh my
it was
goodness.
absolutely miserable. I remember riding past people that looked like they were just a frozen popsicle just sitting there on the side of the road. Like it was.
Wait, did you finish it though?
No, heck no.
Okay.
There are some people that did finish, and oh man, hats off to them. That's that was a crazy day. So I got the first.
Scotty
I got the
Miles
first.
finished it that year.
Did he really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I think
admire
Andy
those
Compass
guys.
finished.
Did he? Wow.
Oh,
Andy's
Oh.
a tough dude. So, but yeah, that's the coolest I think I've ever been in my life. And yeah, the first probably 2 minutes you were just soaked, and at that point you're like, there's no way you're getting warm unless you change clothes. But anyways, so yeah, it's a couple experiences, I guess.
nice. Jace, any questions for Mike?
No, I mean, I just, as he's talking about memories, I start thinking about races that I've been in with Mike, like Mirror Lake. And he mentioned Loaded Jet 2 years ago. I was in that one with him. Were you in the 45 though, Mike, 2 years ago? I think we were together till the end, and then we attacked on that last straightaway road before the bike path, and the group split. But I rode with you a lot that day, and just kind of other stuff, Wasatch All Road or whatever it is, just lots of really hard, long, gnarly events. And I haven't spent that many days, outside of some races with Mike. And then maybe I think I rode with him in Zone 5 a year ago up the backside of Suncrest. But I just I feel really close to Mike just because I've spent such miserable hours suffering with him on the bike that you have this bond together. And whenever I see him, I'm just so excited to see him. And I think that's one thing that's so great about cycling that Mike mentioned before is the friends that you meet on the bike, and you become close so quickly because you share this suffering together. And for whatever reason, when you're on the bike, you can really talk that you don't do the small talk a lot. You get right into really talking about real life and kids and family and work, and you just really connect with people faster. I think you share a common ground, and then you can just instantly get past the small stuff, which is great.
Yeah, I remember. I don't know. I guess we've been Stu. I know, man, we've been to some Loaded Jazz in the same groups before. Just sometimes years are different. Where it's either bad luck or I don't know. There's a few of them that I'd see and then he didn't, and then probably missed me on some. I don't know. I think you've had a couple years that not so lucky.
Yeah,
I've heard a few stories. I've had some unlucky times too. But anyway, it's always the big.
I found this picture, you guys, Taylor and Doug. I think this is 20, maybe 19. I don't know. Shane, there's Nate.
Oh yeah.
That's fun.
That
was a great group you guys had.
Back, it's the American First kit back then, I guess. That was a great team too. Yeah, it seems like whenever I see you guys, it's always on the big events. So
Mike, you've had a lot of experience, and especially through your work, which I really admire, your perspective from that area. Looking back, or even now,
Do you have kind of a life's philosophy that guides you, whether it's how you treat others or how you approach cycling, that makes sure that you don't get out of balance? I mean, what kind of keeps you, what's your guiding? How do you make sure you're not doing anything too stupid, or balancing your family and your work, and how this all works? Is there any philosophies you live by?
Well, if you can find someone that can balance everything in life, I'd like to meet him or her. That's pretty hard to do.
Yeah.
You know, I think different times in your life, you balance things differently. You know, if you're raising a family, you got young kids, and yeah, it's hard to get out and ride. I'm at a point in my life now where my kids are mostly grown and a little bit older, so don't have to run them to soccer practice or anything. They just kind of do their own things and work and school. So I have a little more time to myself, which I haven't had for a long time. But balance, but you gotta keep it all. You gotta figure that out. You got to make sure that cycling is enjoyable in some way. So you gotta figure that out. We all know it's enjoyable, but sometimes you get to a point where you kind of start maybe have a little bit of burnout, or it's just not like if you've got a program that you're following, you still want to go out and do your intervals or whatever it is, but you've got to find ways to keep it enjoyable. So I think the thing that's worked for me a lot is I kind of change it up a little bit. So during the week, I'll do a couple road rides, and then I'll do a mountain bike ride, or I'll get on a gravel bike and do a ride. Because I found there's a couple of years there, maybe last year, that I was just doing a ton of road stuff, and I don't know, it's just hard to keep motivated, hard to keep it enjoyable. And so I was like, all right, well, I'm going to switch it up and start doing a little mountain biking. And so that's been nice to be able to kind of change it up, find ways so you're not burning out, you know. Do something once in a while, do like a crazy, I don't know, kind of a crazy adventure ride or something.
Yeah.
Something where you're not, you know, you don't have any structure, you're just going out to have fun. Those are some of the days that I remember is just going out doing some long gravel ride someplace I haven't been, just up, you know, with some friends or even by yourself, and out in the middle of nowhere, and just change it up. And it's I think that helps out quite a bit. You got to be consistent, of course. So every morning I do something, right? So consistent that way. You got to have a plan. You got to stick to it. It takes, I don't know, what's that? It's kind of a rule of thumb. I think I've heard it was like takes, what is it, like 10,000 hours to be a professional at something, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to get better, I mean, it's going to take time. What's the back in the CrossFit days? I used to listen to a lot of. I still listen to. He's great, but what's his name? Jocko. You know, Jocko Willink.
Oh yeah, Jocko. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Jocko. So he's like a retired Navy SEAL guy, pretty hardcore dude. But I still listen to him occasionally, not as much as I used to, but he's, you know, he always gives great advice on leadership and exercise, and I don't know, lessons learned from his SEAL days. So he wrote this book called, what's it called, like Extreme Ownership, and it's just got basically a bunch of leadership advice in it. But a couple of things I remember is if you want to be successful, or people who are successful decide that they're going to be successful, right? So if you're going into a race, or if you're going to go on a ride, you need to decide how you're going to handle that. Like, if you're not very confident if you're going to a race, then maybe that's how you're going to perform. Yeah, and it always seems to work out that if I think that I'm not going to have a good ride, or I don't know, if I stop feeling it, then that's usually typically how it ends up, right? Absolutely. If I go in with the mindset that, hey, I'm gonna do my best, I'm gonna give everything I got on this race, then I'm gonna do it. So you gotta mentally prepare. You gotta train your mind. You gotta be ready for that. But I don't know. I mean, he says, what is this thing? It's like discipline equals freedom. So basically, you can achieve your goals if you work hard, and you've got some self-control. So being consistent. I mean, this is all. I'll get you through there. Getting up early every morning. I think he was big on getting up early and not sleeping in. He's like, what's this thing? He's like, set your alarm clock and get out of bed. Don't push snooze, and all that time you're wasting, you could be doing this or that. Always, I know Jason's big on this, but always be prepared, whether you're going to a race, whether you're going into a meeting, something with work, something with cycling. I've tried to, as a fireman, that was my job. I was getting paid to be ready, be prepared for anything that could happen, right? So who knows what kind of call you were going to get, but you needed to be prepared for it. That was your job. So definitely you got to be prepared going into races. But that translates over into life. I think you kind of have to put everything into perspective too, meaning I don't take things too seriously. Overall, we're just 40-year-old dudes that are just trying to stay in shape. We're not like
That's what Jason
pro
always says.
pro cyclists. So yes, we want to improve. We want to get better. You can't compare yourself to other people too. Like let your accomplishments be yours. You can't get a PR or something and then say, well, this guy did it that much faster or whatever. Just enjoy the things that you accomplish yourselves. You can't.
Did you listen to my podcast right before this, Mike?
That's part of it.
It's like we're the same person.
That's funny.
Comparison
you find
is the
that
thief of joy, right?
What did you say?
Comparison is the thief of joy.
Just enjoy what you can accomplish yourselves. Don't compare. It kind of takes it away, like what you're saying. So
nice. Jace, any follow-up?
I mean, I think obviously a lot of things that you say ring really true to me. We kind of follow a similar background, not as far as jobs, but like I did CrossFit, 6 days a week for 5 years before I started cycling. I just, was a little bit later than you, I guess, on the timeline. And I think we kind of, as you start cycling versus kind of how you progress in cycling, kind of your mindset changes pretty significantly. You start out with Strava and it's all this new stuff where you can compare yourself to everybody on every segment, and it gets overwhelming, and you post your rides and you're seeing everybody else's rides, and it's so easy to compare. And you quickly realize how much that diminishes your own accomplishments, and it doesn't do anybody any good to compare yourself constantly on things like Strava, because, on segments and stuff, it's what was the wind doing that day and who are you riding with and what was the temperature. Like, it just doesn't even matter. It's so much more fun to just compare yourself to yourself.
Mike, when it comes down to these are just some quick rapid fire questions. Sean Montmany came up with these. These are pretty good. So if it came down to you giving young 16-year-old Mike some advice, what would you tell him?
Giving me
16-year-old
advice? Young Mike.
Cut your mullet.
16. Yes, I think I did have a mullet when I was 16. Young me, I'm trying to think. I think I'm gonna so my girls are a little bit older than 16, but I try to give them a little bit of advice. This is what I give myself too, is a couple things. One of them would be to spend, my wife's over here listening, but spend as much time as you can with your family. When you're 16, your parents probably aren't the coolest people, but you kind of look back and say, I missed a lot of time with these kids. I wish I would have done that. I wish I would have done that. And so I think that's important. So spend time with the family. What I tell my girls too, what I would tell myself is you basically become the person, or you become who you hang out with, right? So if you've got friends that are making the best decisions, then you're probably going to not make the best decisions. So you need to surround yourself with people that can people who can inspire you, people who can make you a better person, because all these friends are going to influence you. So it's one thing to do. I would have told myself, and I tell my girls this, that you need to push yourself in different. You need to push yourself in different things, whether it's in school, whether it's in sports, whether it's whatever's important to you, and you need to learn to fail, because you're gonna fail at some of these goals you're gonna have. You're gonna fail at some of these things, but then you also need to learn to get up, to learn from your mistakes, and try harder the next time and improve. So, but you don't want to be reckless with your decisions, kind of things that you want to do, but you don't want to be afraid either, because you don't want to be afraid. You want to take chances. But sometimes if you're kind of scared of getting out of your comfort zone and if you're a little scared, then I think that can limit you a little bit. So you need to go out and do that. Back then when we were 16, we didn't have social media, right?
Right.
I don't know. I think I always get on my girls about, I don't know, social media, Instagram, and all that. So I would say not spend as much time on that and focus on other things.
Mm-hmm.
So I always tease them about it, but
so do I.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, that's a few things I always tell them that it's good to do hard things. It's good to do hard things. So I think you develop character out of that. So realize things that you can do, what your potential is.
Nice. Jace, any others?
I love that, the getting comfortable with failure to grow thing. That rings true to me. What Aaron Jordan once said on one of our Zwift rides, I think he said, sometimes you got to be willing to lose to win. Mm-hmm. And I think that it's sometimes that's the right mindset, that you got to be willing to put yourself on the line and maybe lose and show up to something in order to know what you can accomplish as well. You got to be willing to fail. You got to be willing to put yourself out there. And I think that's super important. I think kids these days really are starting to lack that, and maybe, a lot of our generation too, because I joke with people all the time. I think that's why baseball as a sport is destined to fail, is because kids these days are not good at failure, and baseball is mostly failing. I mean, the best people in the world are rarely succeeding when they're, up to bat or whatever. You're constantly failing in that sport, and you have to get comfortable with it. And kids these days just aren't. I think that it's too bad.
Nice. Mike, great advice. Really fun to hear your perspective. I just have one more. There's a few more on our little outline here, but I really want to hear. It's your birthday. Cost is no option. What are you doing today? What are you going to do? What's the perfect day look like? Yeah. What's the perfect day?
No option. Well, it's got to start with donuts. That's for sure. There's got to be some burgers.
From where? Donuts from where?
Oh, well, the go-to here is Lehigh Bakery.
Okay.
Got some pretty good ones.
I'm okay with that.
Everybody's got where's your place? Where do you go? Everybody's got a good
I think donut. Utah lacks a bit in good donuts. Banbury's good. I like Donut Star down in Draper too. So I didn't know if you were going to say Donut Star for the cronuts.
How did you know? Cronuts is like my new favorite thing. They're so good. Like a warm Cronut. Oh, so
That's
good.
fun.
Mike, there's one thing you'll know about me as you get to know me more is if it's a dessert, I know about it.
That's funny. It's the truth, dude.
All right. Well, do you know? So my favorite for a long time was a cronut, right? They're
Yeah.
just so awesome. How can they be beat? But I found something that I enjoy more. It's called a queenamon. You ever heard of a queenamon?
No.
Sounds like a
Oh,
made up
man.
name.
No, it's not. Look it up. And you've got to experience one to know. Anyways, it's definitely a good pastry. It's like a cronut, but just a little bit. It's better. Give it a go. So
Where do you get
I
it?
don't know. There's different places around. Avenue Bakeries by me. So like
Looking it
see
up
how
right
I know
now.
all these bakeries around my house. So
How I don't even know how to spell Queenama, but I'll figure it out.
Queenamon. Anyways, try it out. You'll it's a life changer. So
Okay.
donuts, burgers, it's probably got to be some beer. I don't know. I would say I don't know. I'm not I'm not a pretty luxurious guy. I think if I just were to go on a nice hike or something, maybe a good ski day with my family, good hike with the family, enjoy good dinner. I think that's a good day for me.
Nice.
So we don't have to be anything luxurious, anything like that. Something with the family we can all do. That'd be awesome.
Cool. Very good. Jace, any concluding thoughts? Any final questions?
No, I think it's been great. It's been a really good podcast to kind of get to know your background a little bit more. I thought a lot about what you said at the very start, as you were kind of talking about your job and how you've seen some stuff. You've seen a lot of physical health issues that has motivated you, but also mental health issues. And it's interesting that sometimes you forget that you respond to so many of these mental health issues and suicides and attempts and some, you've seen some stuff, you've seen some bad things, and how important it is to, have physical health, but also something that cycling brings that you've talked a lot about is the group of people that you get to spend time with and that you share so much in common with, is really important. The group of guys that you spend time with it really kind of lifts you mentally and also physically. And I think that's important to remember. And it was good to hear that is kind of something that motivated you to get out and do the endurance sports.
Nice.
Yeah, for sure.
A couple of weeks ago, when I asked Mike to be on the podcast, his first question was, why? And I hope you've seen why. Just down to earth, good dude who will, with Mike, your philosophy and way you approach everything, I think is a great example to so many. So I think you're just awesome. Fun to share your story and who you are with everybody. They should know you better. So thanks, man. Grateful you be on.
Well, thanks for having me. This is fun.
Cool. All right, Jace. Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, guys.